Alright, I'm back up. Let me just. There we go, much better. We got sound. We got display. I think we're set to do some coding. Alright. So, I was in the process of creating a test for this algorithm. Which algorithm? This one. Let's get that out of there. And here. Actually, just wait before we go and complete delete this. We're gonna call this test. Call this test. Let's see. Calculate energy. Calculate. How about that? Should compute energy. Value of pixel. Might change the description later on because I'm not even sure what I'm gonna get this to do. But we do know that we are passing in now I'm thinking, yeah, I could probably make a class that has all those algorithms and just inject that into PGM image. Yeah. Okay. Might be overthinking this a little bit. But we will. We'll just call this algos equals new. We'll just call it algorithms for now. And do we need to pass anything in to the constructor? Nope, I don't think we will. So our input here, well, let's see. What are we going to do? What's the first thing we're doing? We are the first step in our algorithm. Let's pull that up. Let's pull that up. Don't need this anymore. So seam carving algorithm. Does that give us the nice rundown? Right, so the weight density energy of each pixel is then calculated. This can be done various ways. Gradient magnitude is what we use here. So yeah, let's do that. Let's make a function that calculates a pixel's gradient magnitude. We could also choose to shove that in the pixel class. Doesn't make sense though. To have the pixel have knowledge of the pixel class have knowledge of the surrounding pixels, or basically the entire image is pixel array. Now it doesn't make much sense to me. We could still have a function on it, a method that would take the image as a parameter, but that seems weird, right? The pixel is part of the image. Why would it take the image as a parameter? I don't know, don't like it. Let's stick with our algorithm class. So actual is going to be algos dot, let's see, we're going to call this gradient magnitude. So compute gradient magnitude for the entire image or for just one pixel. Let's make it for one pixel. Compute gradient magnitude of pixel or pixel gradient magnitude. Yeah, compute or just get maybe. Get, well, get makes it sound like we're not doing much work. Calculate, compute, whatever, compute pixel gradient magnitude. To do that, yeah, no, that's good. Let's do that. So what do we need here? We're going to need the entire image, right? Image bitmap. I never thought about maybe using that. But really, image pag, what? Bitmap, yeah. What exactly is stored in that thing? The image bitmap interface represents a bitmap image which can be drawn to a canvas without undue latency. It can be created from a variety of source objects using the create image bitmap, the factoring method, height, width, method close. That's it? No. It's just a wrapper over a BMP, basically. Nope. Not going to be using that. Okay. So image, which is, I'll just call it pixel array. Pixel array. And you guys have probably seen my chin, if I'm standing up to we're going to need our, actually, let's put our coordinates first. So pixel row, pixel column. And we need the entire pixel array. Doesn't seem too unreasonable. 3 parameters. It's the max I would be. Oh, I could just pass in the pixel and have the pixel class keep its coordinates. Right now the only thing I've got in there is the grayscale value, but it could make sense to have it keep its own coordinates. Would it make sense? Then I have to keep that in sync. Have to make sure to keep it in sync with the actual coordinates from the pixel array if ever I end up changing things, and I will, right? Because the idea with this algorithm is to remove pixels from the array. So automatically the coordinates of all the pixels to the right of that change is going to change because they're going to end up, so that's insane. I would have to go through the entire array, change the coordinates, so no. Nope, not a good idea. I don't think so. So we'll just pass it in like that. Okay, so we got our AccuTool. AccuTool? Actual. Okay. So we're gonna expect actual to be probably something. What else do we need here for a proper formatted test? Well, we need an input. We need our pixel row. We need our pixel column. We need our pixel array. So let's get that. Consts. Let's start with the pixel array. Now our pixel array what's the type of our pixel array? It's a 2D array of pixels. Am I constructing that somewhere? I am. Right here. From a file. So I basically have to re-implement this whole thing. Really, I'm thinking that this should be its own function and I should be testing it. But here you go. Again, with the whole testing dilemma. Right, I'm essentially here taking a string and I'm turning it into, I'm splitting that string on each new line. I am creating a 2D array of pixel objects, pixel class objects, instances. And I'm passing in the grayscale value, right? That's what I'm getting from that. So, you know, it would be a good thing to test this. How do I test it? Because I can't use that class to test this. Pixels is a private property. Oh, I could make this a method. I could basically make the constructor a method, a function, but logically, well, that function should be private, right? We don't want clients of PGM image to call that function. Doesn't make sense. I could just shove it in the algorithms class. It is okay. Let's do that. Boy. Okay, so let's just write another test. Actually, let's just copy this. This should be the 4. All right, so now we're gonna be trying something else here. So And this is should create a 2D array of pixels. Right, essentially that's what we're doing. Our input is, I'm gonna shove it in here. Our input is going to be actually we've got an example of the input that we need here. This is our input. Let's take the first one here. Okay. Like that. That's our input. Construct the algorithms. Now, actual is going to be equals algos dot, let's call it create pixel array. Maybe a map would be, no, not really. Pixel array, pixel to the array. Yeah, sure. Well, a pixel by definition is, yeah, let's go with that. Create pixel array. Just pass in our input. And then expected should be, what are we expecting from this? We're expecting, how do I test for this? Without just re-implementing the dear God, this is complicated. I really feel like there's something I'm not getting about testing. Like how am I testing for this, right? I know what I want. I want a 2D array that has, you know, that has this, but instead of this, it's using a pixel object, which I've defined here. I got my class here. It's gonna have more than just that, but for now, that's all it has. The grayscale value is actually this number here, so I want a 2D array. You get it, right? You get it. I get it. The thing is, how do I test my implementation without implementing it in the test? Right? I need to construct it to be able to test it. How? Well, okay. How about this? I could okay. Like instead of constructing the entire instead of constructing the entire thing, which would force me to implement the whole friggin' thing, which doesn't make sense, right? If your tests are implementing what you're trying to test, what are you really testing? And why do you have a test? I could just, let's see. Okay, so we could test the first one, for instance. So we could do a new pixel. That's not too bad, right? New pixel. Oops. Okay, that's annoying. let's just import it straight then. Complain if I do import. Am I exporting this? Maybe that's the problem. I'm not. Okay. Export. So now it should work, unless there's something wrong with our code completion. Oh, there we go. There you go. Okay. And our grayscale value is 164. There we go. This one here. So, okay. Then we're going to do, let the actual be this. We're going to paste it. Actually 0, 0 to double. So we're testing the first one here. So expect actual to be equal, because to be is strict equality, right? That won't work. Yeah, that won't work. So let's find something else. To equal, what? I think this might work. I think this is like, use when you want to check that two objects have the same value. There you go. I think this should work. To equal actual now, but I'm not really satisfied with just testing one. So we're gonna test the first one. So how about we call this actual row 1, row 0, call 0, and then expected row 0, call 0. Okay, let's do a bunch of those just for. I remember reading somewhere that it's not good practice to have many expects in the same test, but it really doesn't make sense to me here since we're not changing the actual input to do that in separate tests. So we're not going to do that for now. Okay. Can we make assumptions about the kind of inputs we're going to be getting? Well, an image will have more than one pixel, right, logically? Logically, it would. Well, this one has anyway, so that's the one we're testing. So who cares about anything else? Oh no, that was done. Okay, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 1. Crap. 2, I think. Probably not. Let's go the other way. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 134. 134. Maybe a last one. We'll take the very last pixel on the actual, call this one last row, last call. SLB input. Oh, I can't do that. So let's see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I've got them here. So 29. So first is 7, and then 29. And that should be 111. Okay, so now we got to make our expects. So expect this here to be this. We expect this here. Let's do that. Okay. Actual, okay, boom, boom, boom. Good. And that's our test, I believe. Are we missing anything? Well, it's not going to compile because we don't have this class here. So even before we run it, we know. So let's just go ahead and implement that in a new file. I'll go ts. We're going to create a class we're going to be calling algorithms for now. And we're looking for, support that. Then a create pixel array method. Wonder, should it just be, yeah, we can get it to be, should it just be static? I mean, it's just going to be a bag of algorithms. Is it going to keep state? Will it be instantiated? Do we need to instantiate it? I don't think so. It's just going to be like a static class. So in a sense, I might not even need the public to, so I might not even need to inject it into our PGM image. Now, make it static. And we're creating a pixel array, so we're going to be returning a pixel array. Array of pixels. Okay. Good. Create pixel array. So, as I was saying, let's just play around with the idea of, oh well, see, there you go. Perfect example of what I was talking before. I'm guessing, especially if you come from a language like C# or Java, where everything's classes, and which I'm not, right? I started off with JavaScript and TypeScript, but I like the idea of classes and objects and stuff, and object-oriented programming, but it's just silly in JavaScript most of the time, I would think, to have essentially a static class. Every file is a module, so I really don't need to wrap this into a class. I can just have the function itself. That's all I really need, right? Just export that. I export create pixel array. Yeah, so const create pixel array. I just need this here. There we go. All right, create pixel array is a function. I'm missing the equal sign. Okay, there we go. And then here, all I really need to do is import create pixel array. Or if I wanted to, see, I could just bring in everything from algo. I will call it algorithms. See, that's kind of the way you can namespace stuff here in JavaScript, because every file is its own module. So now I can just go here and go algorithms. Boom, create pixel array. Beautiful. You just have to think about this is more idiomatic, I guess, to the language, to JavaScript, than actually using a class with a bunch of static methods in it. Because the only purpose of doing that is to kind of namespace your stuff. And really, this is the simple JavaScript way to do it. Okay. So we've got that. Now we're expecting an input here. So this should take a, it's supposed to take a pixel string, no, image string, we're gonna call it. Really, that's what we're, yeah, that's what we're passing in here. Image string, which is of type string. There we go. Now let's just feed the monster, return a simple new pixel. Let's return an array which has an array in it, and in there's a new pixel. 165. There you go. So that satisfies our return type, allowing us to run the test without any compile error, I hope. Okay, what are we getting here? A bunch of compile errors, of course. Where are they? In main TS. Oh yeah. Although it's not actually testing it, it has to parse it because I'm bringing it in the file. So this is a problem here. Just comment this out for now. This is also a problem here. Let's comment it out. Okay, let's try that again, see if that cleaned up things a little bit. Okay. 2 failed, 1 skipped. Good. Main test. Yeah, we don't expect that to pass for now. Seam carving. Okay, that's the one we want. Reference error. Read line is not defined. Where on earth are you? Image file plus equals read line plus this. What? Well, certainly not in here. That image file equals string. It's in here. Oh, yes. That's gonna be a problem. That's just a, I don't know how to get around that. So readline is a function that's implemented in the coding game engine. Now for TypeScript to do its thing, I need to kind of tell it about it, telling him, you know, basically what the function signature is, so that it doesn't bug me and that it types everything properly. But when I'm running a test, it is saying that it's not defined, which is true, because it's trying to parse the main file. How am I going to fix that? I need to mock it when I run the tests, basically. So I need this to be in its own method. So that's another thing to look into later. One thing at a time. Let's try running the test again. Now what? Types of diagnostic customer, blah, blah, blah. Can I find name image file? Yeah, I can see this would be a problem. Where though? Here, okay. So let's basically comment out everything in the main file. That's what we're doing. Everything that is not our classes, which is fine, because that's what we're testing anyways, so we'll fix that afterwards. Property 5 of undefined. Okay. That's right. Because I don't have that big of an array. Okay, anyways, so let's just implement this properly instead of doing stupid things. Here's my test. My algorithm, I already have it. It's basically the entire constructor here. I'm gonna need the target width. I will need this. T-Pain. This would normally not be in. Let's see here. Yeah, this normally wouldn't be in the file, but Code and Game, they're kind of putting that comment in, and we need to parse it and get that. Yeah. And testing makes things so much more complicated, seems to me sometimes. Probably my lack of experience with it though. So I'm trying to build this, construct this class here. This is kind of a complicated process. So I want to put it in its own function. If I put it inside the class, it doesn't make sense to make that function public. So then if I make it private, I can test it. So my idea is to put it in a separate class, essentially. But then well, I guess it means I need to split it up even further to even more smaller functions that do just one thing. But doesn't it get to be silly at some point? And also not performant, right? I'm gonna need to like go through that string twice just because I need to extract different things, and I could create pixel array could become like create ha. I could. Oh man, why didn't I think of that before? You can test the no, you can't. See, that's the thing. You can't, because I was gonna say I can just, you know, test the constructor in the sense that I can. Wait. Well, the thing is, I can't. These are my actuals, right? These are the state of the image wrapper, the PGM image class, but they're private, so I can't test against those. So then what? I could have a create PGM image method. No, that still wouldn't work. My head hurts. I could have a create PGM image method, and that method would do all this work here, the work that I'm doing in here, and and then in the end it would create a PGM, it would just, you know, new a PGM image thing. So then I could test that it's calling that with so I could make the constructor private. And have a public create PGM image function. And then that function, could I actually mock the PGM image thing and just test that it's being, the constructor is being called, or just spy on it, or whatever that's called, and just the constructor, instead of taking in the file, is going to take in a pixels and a target width. And then I can test that I'm calling the constructor with the correct pixel and target width. What would that look like? Because at this point, it may make more sense to what I'm about to do here. So, were I to make this private, and take maybe I should just commit, doing like a bunch of stuff. See, that's, I don't know if it's just me, but that's always what happens when I'm doing TDD, and then there's a lot of computational stuff, and that's just not CRUD stuff, right? I end up in a place where I'm like, yeah, I need to implement this part of the algorithm. I don't want this to be public. It doesn't make sense for it to be public. Where do I put it? How do I test it? And this gets to be like really annoying, and I feel like it slows me down so much. It's probably lack of experience. There's probably like a better way to go about this, but I gotta figure this out. Okay, so let's say I'm doing this. Let's just commit. I don't know what I'm gonna call this, but did a bunch of stuff. So bad stuff on the, what's it called, seam carving puzzle hashtag best commit. Best commit message ever. There are no stage changes. Oh, yeah, just do that automatically if I'm dumb enough to press that button. Okay. Now let's do that. Let's make our constructor private. And it won't take a file anymore. It's going to take an array of pixels. So then I can just do this. Just that. Go. Like that. We don't need you anymore. Logic is going to be elsewhere. Oops. Just this more. Like that. And then we're going to do public create PGM image. You're going to take an image file, which really is just a string. And this is where the fun's going to happen. Okay. Which means that this whole test thing can now happen back in our main test suite. And we're going to call this should create a PGM image. Now our input is this. I'm still going to reuse this, but a little bit differently probably, so we'll just comment that out for now. Okay, so, well, let's start by making our class, trying to anyways, is what we would normally do. So let's call it image, and then we would do new, just for fun, see what it throws at me. New image, and then it goes, oh no, you can't do that. It's private. Good, that's what we want. So then, oh, we need to make it static though. Public. Static. Public void. No, public static void. Public static. And a void. Wait. C# all of a sudden. Public static. Returning a PGM image. Which I know right now. It's fine. Okay. Yeah, that seems like a reasonable way to go about this. PGM image dot create PGM image. Should I just call it create instance? Or just create? I mean, because PGM image dot create PGM image is kind of, how about just create? It seems reasonable. Therefore, that's what we'll do. Okay. Now it's saying, dude, you need to pass something. An image file. Well, good. That's what we've got here. Okay. Now, here's the thing. How would I test that my implementation, which is essentially this here. Let's bring that back to what it was, yeah. How do I test? In the end, that it is creating. Oh boy, this is never ending. Like I need to mock. Yeah, that's right. I need to mock the image file, PGM image class. I need a mock function. Here's what I need. Well, that's just insane. It needs it means that I need to pass it in. It means that I somehow need to pass in PGM image to itself. Does that make sense? Wow. Alright, because at some point in here we're going to be doing a bunch of stuff, then I'm going to end up doing new PGM image, and I'm going to pass in whatever. So, but the thing is, in my test, I need this to be a mock function, because all I want is to be able to see what you're passing in there. But now for this to be a mock function, this would... How can I possibly do this from inside the class? You can't. Oh man, I'm just going round in circles. I am just going round in circles. Round and round we go. Not knowing how to test this thing in a way that makes sense with our design without just making everything public. So the only option, okay, let's just think about this. Is there a way? Normally, if I wanted to mock something using a class like this, I would need to pass in a dependency through the constructor. That would be the normal thing to do. Another option is to do it through the as a parameter. It's not as good, if you ask me. Oh. Yeah, could this work? If I pass it in the constructor? And then would it have access to... Seems like a circular dependency to me. What if I was gonna... Okay, let's try this. PGM image constructor. Type of PGM image, because that's what we're passing in here. Constructor. Passing the constructor in the constructor, that makes absolutely no sense. Makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I don't think so anyways. So if I was to go new PGM, yeah, I don't even have access to it. That doesn't make sense. That is incredibly frustrating. And I'm not making any progress. You know, that's what's really annoying. So TDD thing is supposed to help you out, but really I'm stuck with something stupid. Normally I would just like code, and if it doesn't work, just debug and fix and keep going, you know. And here I am wondering how the heck am I supposed to test constructing my class? Without just making everything public. So should I just go back to the idea of making this into, I really don't know. I could make a separate, like, I guess I don't need to make it a static member of the PGM image class. It just made sense to me to do that. It just made sense to me. But I could just make it a standalone function, and then if I do that, I could I'd still need to take the constructor as a parameter. Wow, this seems so convoluted. Just to test that I'm constructing my class properly, and just so that I don't make. But essentially, what am I doing here? I'm making it public. The problem is, so I go back to what started all this. I wanted to avoid so it all started from the need to test this implementation here. And then, since I can't test these outputs, then you need to extract this into its own function. But even if you do, Yeah, I'm gonna have to maybe do a bit of research here. I'm a bit stumped. I'm gonna have to use some mocking, obviously. I just don't see it right now. I just don't see it. So, okay, maybe I can just test something else in the meantime. Should create a PG image. For now. We'll simply comment all of it out. Like that. What else could I test? Still haven't worked on this. I've got this thing here. Calculate energy, which I was going to have as a separate algorithm in a separate class. This one here. Opted it, yeah. Image string. Oh, and this, okay, that's what started it all. I was doing this, then I figured, oh man, I need access to, or maybe not access, but I need these when I construct my PGM image. And if this is the method that actually takes the file and does stuff to it. Okay, you know what? Let's just do what we need from here. At least some of the stuff we need. So let's do this. I just end up going like to these rabbit holes when I do TDD. Like I'm trying to do something, I'm like, oh man, I should really be testing this. Okay, so let's go do that, and then oh, this one works. I don't know, man. All right, so what are we doing? We're taking create pixel array. No, we're not there yet. This is something else. Create pixel array. Which I guess we could, yeah. Round in circles we go. Okay. Create. Am I exporting this thing? Yep. Create pixel array. Algorithms dot create pixel array. You call it. Pass in. Oh, is that the test that I was kind of, yeah. Take this whole thing then. a pixel array. We don't care about you. Okay. So what did happen when we ended up running this? Let's run it again and find out. What's this remove seam? Oh yeah, because I commented it out. Just comment out this entire thing. Test suite must contain at least one test. Which one is that? Oh, because it's seeing an empty. Okay, how about that then? Just forget about the whole thing. For now. Now what? Oh, this is starting to get on my nerve. I don't even want to run this. Why are you being such a yosh? There. Okay. Solve this now. Okay. Oh yeah. I remember now. Whoops. Okay. So this is image string. This we don't care about anymore, but we might later. This we also don't care about. This we do. That's actually what we're going to return. There we go. Let's run our test. There we go. Okay. So there's one piece of functionality we were able to implement and test today. We're taking in our image string and we're creating a pixel array. Yay. Yay for us. Now how does that serve us? Well, that means that I can use this here. Technically. We're going to call this create. Pixel array. Actually, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do ribbons as, well, I don't need the brackets, right? I don't think I do. There we go. pixel array. I need to pass in the image string, which I get. Maybe I should just call it image string. String. Okay. Delete this here. All right, so give me an image string. I'll give you an array of pixels. That's basically what we're doing here. Very simple. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to stop here for today. Wow. Didn't do much except ask myself a lot of questions with a lot of no answers. Yeah, TDD, man, there is something I am not getting. It just seems to make everything so complicated. And I just find it so hard to have the kind of design I want while using TDD. Like, anyways, it's like I said, it's probably a lack of experience. And I'll figure it out over time, but for now I find it incredibly frustrating because, you know, I just spent almost an hour and a half just running around in circles trying to figure out where to put a certain method or functionality so that I could test it. It gets to be really annoying because you're not really working on the solving the core problem here. Anyways, all right, so thanks for sticking around with this one if you did. I'll see you tomorrow morning for another round of Phil is trying to figure out where to put private methods so that they could be tested. See ya.